The country as a whole joined with the President of the United States in starting the year with renewed hope. At his inaugural, he faced international problems, staggering in their possibility. Problems interwoven with our day-to-day existence, mine and yours. At the state dinner, the President was happily confident as he told friends how he received the news of his overwhelming victory.
And Mr. Kelsenborn was saying, while the President is 1 million votes ahead in the popular vote, we have yet to hear from the... And we are very sure that when the country vote comes in, Mr. Truman will be defeated by an overwhelming majority. And I went back to bed and went to sleep.
Almost world-shaking in its implications to international society was the romance of Rita Hayworth and the Ali Khan. The glamorous screen star and the heir to one of the world's most fabulous fortunes were married on the French Riviera after months of feverish courtship. All the world loves a lover, and that old saying holds true for America, where Vice President Alvin Barkley and the former Mrs. Carlton S. Hadley were joined in matrimony in St. Louis. The groom was the first vice president of the nation ever to be married while in office. In a time of turmoil, such happy endings are a delight. On the home front, the Cold War was fought in courts of law. 11 American communist leaders went on trial for conspiracy to overthrow the government by violence. Under the stern but impartial eye of Judge Medina, they were convicted and sentenced to varying terms in prison. It was the end of the road for these Reds, and on the home front, communist advances were far from spectacular.
Seldom has the nation reacted so deeply as it has in the tragedy of San Marino, California. 3-year-old Kathy Fiscus tumbled into a deep artesian well while at play with her sisters and playmates. And for 50 hours, every engineering resource was enlisted. Air was pumped to the little girl, whose faint cries could be heard for a short time. Men risked their lives in the frantic rescue operations. A first shaft cave-in when tunneled at the 57-foot level. A later casing bunk 95 feet reached the child, while crowds gathered to pray silently for her safety. Sandhogs, oil drillers, and just plain courageous men worked until their strength was exhausted in the uneven race, which went around the clock. During the second night, seeping water had to be pumped out. But the grim race continued, and the crowd still prayed for Kathy. But the prayers were not answered. After 50 hours of futile struggle, Kathy is found dead, a victim of suffocation shortly after she fell into the well. A pathetic victim to carelessness. A photo exhibition devoted to Harry Truman, the opening of which is attended by the President, who obviously delights in the display. Particularly so when he encounters a picture of himself holding a copy of the newspaper which prematurely proclaimed a defeat by Thomas Dewey. Outdoors, under the sunny skies of Key West, Florida, Dwight Eisenhower meets with the Joint Chiefs of Staff and other high-ranking military leaders. In attendance is Omar Bradley. Hey, Ike, no uniform? Douglas Fairbanks Jr. receives an enthusiastic welcome from Greek children as they arrive at a refugee camp in Salonika. Nowhere in Europe are the effects of malnutrition more pathetically apparent. Mr. Fairbanks, chairman of the Care Committee, observes at first hand how desperately needed are the food packages being sent to Europe through his organization. In this center slope, religious groups are attempting to care for more than 5,000 persons, where near starvation stalks its victims. Care packages are the one bright ray in a struggle for survival, particularly when they contain chocolate, for this little Greek waif is making a brand new acquaintance. And what better way is there to make another acquaintance? Share with care. Hunger knows no nationality. To the south of France for the annual Cannes Film Festival. Celebrities arrive from all over the world and include Erich von Stroheim, Martine Carroll, Edward G. Robinson, for entertainment, the French Ballet, and a fireworks display. Hooray for Hollywood! Looks like election night, but no, it's the opening of a top-flight production. Here on Broadway, Entertainment Center of the Universe, a new show is born. Look, folks, here's Marta Torin arriving in all her glamorous appeal to the movie audience. Come to give Times Square added attraction as police check admirers. And Universal International star Yvonne DiCarlo builds general confusion, which gives a Hollywood opening something to shoot at. Yvonne presents a scroll to Sweden's prize package to the film world. Looks like a success. Film executives, critics, and you and I flock to another outstanding showing of what is America's gift to worldwide movie lovers.
Napoleon and his second wife, Empress Marie-Louise, are central figures in a little drama called Paris in New York. Fashionable frocks by tailored woman are on display, along with diamonds by Van Cleef & Arpels worth a king's ransom, or in this case, an emperor's. The little corporal who became Emperor of France and his Habsburg Empress, Marie-Louise, glittering in a diamond tiara, are all eyes as another model enters. Her white gown has a truly regal look, fit for a queen. Her diamonds, ear clips, necklace, and bracelet are worth a cool $285,000. Act 2, one empress departs, out of sight, out of mind. Napoleon has a courtly greeting for his first wife, the famed Empress Josephine, dazzling in white and bejeweled to the tune of $500,000. Hiding behind the harp is a little lady in a green satin gown. She also agrees that diamonds are a girl's best friend. Glitter and glamour lend a touch of Paris in little old New York.
To sunny Honolulu they come on a magic carpet, bringing the latest in handbag luxury, alighting from the Northwest Orient airliner to a happy hula hello. Some of the island's prettiest cover girls are models for the travel and resort bags styled by Joseph. Now we overlook the city, but not her hat of hibiscus flowers, nor her white cowhide handbag accented in brown. The botanical gardens frame her brocaded mandarin dress and flower-top bag. Butterflies and flowers go hand in hand, suggesting cool summery evenings. A sugarcane field accents a hula dress with sugarcane tassels topping the bucket bag. Everywhere pineapples in the dress and in the stitching on the bag. But now to Waikiki Beach, where a quartet of hula dancers sway against a background of palm trees. The gals carry the newest resort straws decorated with corsages of island flowers. Mermaids gather round a beach buoy and surfboard, a trio of maidens with their fishnet handbags, very easy on the eyes. When Miss Hawaii swings her drawstring fishnet bag, the camera swings to Diamond Head and home.
Celebrities are out in Houston. John Barrymore, Buddy Rogers, Dorothy Lamour, Auntie Divine, and others arrived to attend the swank opening of the new luxurious Shamrock Hotel. Pat O'Brien and Ed Wynn. The inimitable Joan Davis clowns in the lobby. A packed dining room is evidence that the Shamrock will be a solid box office hit. Any similarity to the Arabian Nights is purely coincidental. This is New York City's Artists and Models Ball, and the revelers run the gamut from the merely beautiful to out of this world. The dancing is a combination of foxtrot and jitterbug, with a bit of the whirling dervish thrown in for good measure. Two heads are better than one. Time out in the balcony. The finale, a costume contest ranging from bats to a bird in the cage. And now we pan out on Pan.
Nothing was more symbolic of 1949, the year of the Cold War, than the Berlin airlift, the West's heroic answer to a blockade which was finally broken when the Reds capitulated, and trucks took up the job of feeding a city that had subsisted through the raw courage of airmen who kept supplies coming. Out of this inspiration, a new state was born. With Konrad Adenauer as chancellor and Theodor Heuss as president, the Bonn Republic, pledged to oppose communism, took its place in the community of free nations. So, under a new banner, the western provinces of Germany, with the fabulously wealthy Ruhr, have made their choice. The war against communism was fought on many fronts. In the forefront was the church. Cardinal Mindszenty of Hungary became a martyr for his faith, and thousands in Rome prayed for the man who braved red tyranny. Under the leadership of His Holiness Pope Pius, churches throughout the world joined in protesting the life imprisonment of a churchman. Even within communist ranks, the voice of rebellion was heard. Marshal Tito of Yugoslavia turned on his Kremlin masters, once his bosom buddies. Facing the full fury of Soviet revenge on all sides, Yugoslavia was turned into an armed camp, ready for a fight to the finish. Tito, man of the year, but for Moscow. But on other fronts, communism was making formidable gains. Shanghai's fall was but one of an unbroken string of victories that saw red armies overrunning almost the entire continental mass of China. As 1949 ended, Chiang Kai-shek and his demoralized government fled to the island of Formosa, while the red banner floated triumphantly over 400 million people.
In Paris, delegates from Western Europe and the United States, including General Omar Bradley, meet to draft a common defense program. The approval of the agreement as far as American military aid is concerned rests with President Truman. Secretary of Defense Lewis Johnson takes a leading role at the conference, as does United States Emissary W. Averill Harriman. Mostly, the delegates were in agreement on the steps to be taken to combat Russia and her Eastern European satellite nations. One of the main problems concerned the suggestion that Germany be rearmed. Secretary Johnson firmly stated that the United States has no intention of rearming Germany. Atlantic Pact countries realize that they must coordinate their strategies to keep democratic nations free.
Acting President of Nationalist China, Li Tsung-chen, is given a floral greeting as he arrives in New York for medical treatment. During his absence, Chiang Kai-shek resumes leadership of the waning cause. In Canada, the Saint Laurent administration promised a bright future, making the North American continent a tightly knit unit of political and economic security. Saint Laurent heads the Dominion, which is rapidly becoming a major factor in the lineup of free nations. President Truman's dramatic announcement that Russia had the atom secret caused State Departments all over the world to stir uneasily. At the United Nations, Soviet Representative Andrei Vyshinsky refused to comment and stalked coldly into the assembly building. The grim vision of an atomic war, which would leave complete desolation in its wake, is a problem that deeply affects nearly all deliberations of the International Forum. A system of worldwide atomic control for peace must still be resolved. The United Nations, striving toward that end, expresses its aims through President Romulo of the Assembly.
The impasse that now exists regarding the international control of atomic energy must be broken, and the Assembly must face this question squarely for the sake of mankind and for the peace of the world.
Will the atom shatter a world to fragments, or will it be a boon to mankind? Will man destroy himself, or use his power to make existence a paradise? 1950 may tell the tale. 1949 was a year marked by disaster. Disaster born of the earth and the elements, and disaster brought about by man himself. Earthquake in Ecuador, most dramatic and terrifying of nature's tragedies. In a matter of minutes, entire villages demolished in the sharp, ominous upheaval of the earth. Homes, shops, churches turned into wreckage and rubble. For thousands, death. For those who survived, suffering and heartache. A capricious nature wreaked havoc on America's great western plains, where the worst blizzards in history piled a mantle of white death over the land. The loss in livestock was staggering, a loss that was felt as well in lower supplies and rising prices. But man, resourceful and courageous, countered with Operation Haylift, modern weapons with which to combat an ancient foe.
Swing and sway, but this time it's not with Sammy Kaye. It's the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, which sways one time too many and then says bye-bye.
At Chicago Stadium, Joe Louis, retired, meets San Francisco's Pat Valentino in a 10-round exhibition bout. At ringside, along with 5,000 others, Ezra Charles, who won Louis's heavyweight crown after the Brown Bomber retired. Joe outweighs the mop-haired Californian by 39 pounds. And as the fans look on, the undefeated former champ, who parlayed a pair of boxing gloves into $1 million, proceeds to prove he's still mighty handy with those fists. Still the lethal bomber, still the methodical stalker of an opponent, the 224-pound Louis moves in for the kill. Watch him measure Brother Valentino for that sudden death 1-2 punch. It's gone 7 rounds, but it's not going much more. Yes, sir, heavyweight champs may come and heavyweight champs may go, but Joe Louis doesn't seem to have changed. Still the same old Joe. Joe is taking his time. And that's all for the opposition, and Joe still looks like a champ. The Heisman Trophy for the Outstanding Football Player of the Year is presented to Leon Hart of Notre Dame by Wilbur Jordan, president of New York's Downtown Athletic Club. The 255-pound end is the first lineman to win the award in 12 years. 13,000 fans get their thrills worth of sporting excitement as the Oregon State Beavers and the NYU Violets clash on the basketball court. Beavers on a rampage. 2 points for Oregon State. The Violets come right back. Clean as a whistle, and the Violets are really putting up a fight. Watch them stop this Beaver thrust. With only about a half a minute of play remaining, the Violets, nothing shrinking about these Violets, pick up speed. They're behind 2 points, and this could be your ball game. It goes, tied up, 45-45. Now comes a disputed play. Did Bill Harper of Oregon State step out of bounds? A few seconds later, the Beavers score and again take the lead. The NYU bench is still disputing the decision, but it's too late now. With only seconds left to play, and even while the final whistle blew, the Beavers score again and win 49-45.
Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles is a wet, soggy setting for the National Football League playoffs. Los Angeles Rams versus Philadelphia Eagles, and the weatherman is the party of the third part. Plans for postponement went for naught, and only 28,000 hardy souls braved the liquid sunshine to cheer the Grid Gladiators. Tommy Thompson passes, a diving catch by Jack Ferranti, and the pro champs are on their way to clinching the title again. Another Thompson aerial. Pete Pios grabs it on the 15 and carries it across. It's Eagles 14-0. New York goes all out for Cornelius McGillicuddy, Connie Mack to baseball fans for over half a century. It's his day, and everybody's out to make it a huge success. The 86-year-old Connie, known and beloved as Mr. Baseball, is celebrating 50 years as a manager. Countless thousands line the route of the motorcade. Give baseball's grand old man a royal welcome as he drives up Broadway to City Hall. After his triumphal ride, the genial mentor of the Philadelphia Athletics is met by Mayor O'Dwyer and given a testimonial scroll as city officials and big league stars look on. Chicago's Comiskey Park sets the stage for the World's Heavyweight Boxing Championship between Ezzard Charles and Jersey Joe Wolcott. Attendees include Tony Galento and Joe Louis. The winner and the loser.
The Bear John boys, Charles, Paul, Adrian, Lionel, Gene, and Antonio. Quite a bunch of boys, aren't they? They live in Bellechasse County, Quebec, which isn't far from the U.S. border. And 6 months of the year, they live in the U.S. So the chances are they're the strongest brothers in 2 countries, though they only claim the Canadian title. And when Maxie Bear of boxing fame arrives on the scene and makes a wager, the brothers take him up. The barbell weighs 250 pounds. Maxie can't lift it, and he loses the bet. But he's a good sport and shakes hands with Brother Charles. Oh, so you can't bear it, eh, Max? Let's get back to the brothers. Adrian this time, he's got more than a chip on his shoulders. Brother Paul, we think, is the strongest. Strong, you bet. He measures his strength in horsepower. Brother Charles here tops them all. The vehicle weighs 16,000 pounds, not counting the passengers. Charles would be good at the Ritz as bus boy off British Columbia, and this year the herring crop is a bumper one. Each time this basket dips into the huge seine, a couple of tons of fish find their way into the hold of the fishing boat. Kibitzers with an eye on the free lunch, which is being added to the harvest at a rate of 7,000 tons a week. Already the yield has surpassed last year's with a total of 67,000 tons already caught for fish meal and good old kippers. And speaking of birds, how gullible can they get? Just to make sure every herring is had, they are literally poured into the boat through a pipe which sucks them in by means of a powerful centrifugal pump. Between canning them, drying them, or just reducing them to 1.25 million gallons of oil, the sea yields a bountiful crop.
The last of the red-hot mamas, Sophie Tucker, gets crowned KG Jastux, a sifter of flowers, in case my Indian isn't so good. Putting on her usual riotous entertainment, Sophie lets no grass grow under her feet, in her version of a tribal dance. Members of the Six Nations get an eyeful as the pride of stage and Hollywood whoops it up. Then the invincible sifter of flowers shakes a mean hoof for the big chief, who doesn't quite savvy. Neither does the Northwest Mounted. This is called mugging in Mohawk. At Lawrence Field in Wichita, Kansas, the Missouri Cardinals topped the Cessna Bobcats of Wichita 8-3 as a highlight of the National Baseball Congress. The tricky air machine keeps the dust off home plate, and the stage is all set for the guest of honor, Joey Brown of film fame, getting a big kick from his big bat. Known best for his comedy roles in the movies, Joe is intensely interested in baseball, has done a lot for the game. Right now, however, with Commissioner Chandler lending a hand, Joe shows us his funny side as he swings into action with his king-sized bat. Now Commissioner Chandler honors Joe for his widespread baseball activities. Another solid hit for Joey Brown. Shine 'em up. That's Clifford Thompson, world's tallest man. Compared with the average, Cliff should pay double for his size 22E. The big fella used to be with a circus, but he's settled down in Portland, Oregon, where he dodges doorways and where he towers over his neighbors. The headline news is that Thompson is 8 feet 7 inches tall and weighs 460 pounds. Ain't that amazing? Misses all 5 feet 6 inches of her, welcomes the king-size hubby, who is practicing for admission to the Oregon bar. Well, we judge they won this case without any trouble. Cliff owns a special 400-pound bed, but while he's looking for permanent quarters, he makes do in a hotel. His afternoon siesta takes a lot of room in the room. Standing up, he'd probably just fit in a lighthouse. Quite a feat for the world's tallest man. But this amiable giant made his bed and is perfectly willing to lie in it. Hold your breath as you watch some daredevil hijinks high above the streets of Chicago. Must be an easier way to make a living.